Before we get started on our February TBR, I thought I'd like to let you know, in case you hadn't guessed, it's that time of year again. It's time for Polarthon. Polarthon is a readathon that is run by Jade from JD Ray Reads, and every year she runs Polarthon in order to help the polar bears. Last year she raised over £3,000, which I think is absolutely commendable. Well done. And of course we'll be carrying on with that this year. And I will be personally donating £1 for every 100 pages I read. Hopefully I'll be able to get some polar fantasies into the mix, but we'll see what the dice has in store for me. Let's roll on to February's TBR. So, this month I will be rolling over all my books apart from The Last Library by Freya Sampson and Tattooed Teardrops by P.D. Workman. As for the rules, they are slightly different. I have coloured stickers here and will assign a colour to them and stick them on the squares they came from. So The Last Library is red and Tattooed Teardrops is orange. When I land on these squares in the future, whatever books are left I have to pick up again, plus pick a book for the prompt. We will also be going until home this month. We will also be rolling the dice next month, when we have a fresh board to see how many prompts that we will be picking. Hope that makes sense, so let's get started. Read a series. I will be reading Itty Bitty Pocket Critters by Laurie Yarborough. This is a series on KU. It is a children's picture book series. I was asked to review this quite a while ago now, and I'm so excited that I'm finally getting around to it. There are currently 2 books in the series, My Pocket Sloth and My Snuggle Monsters Won't Go to Sleep. These are about 32 pages each, and I can't wait to get started on them. Involving a puzzle or a game. Interesting. For including a puzzle or game, I will be going with The Unkillable Killer by Lucia Ashton. This is obviously what it says in the title. There's an unkillable killer going around and killing off superheroes. He's a superhero himself, and he's basically just trying to find a way to die. He's had enough with his immortal life, and it's all about him coming to terms with it. I did read this a few years ago now, and this will be a reread for me, but it's been quite a few years and I'd like to see if it holds up, so I know whether or not to keep it in my collection. And that is highest rated. Okay, highest rated. For that I will be choosing Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan. This is the second book in the series for Olympian Along, which I am currently doing with Pris from Pris Peruses. And I loved the first book so much, and I cannot wait to get my claws into this one. Set in a school or university? For set in a school or university setting, I am going to be going with Sword of Death by Christopher Menino. This is the second in the series of The Scythe Wielder's Secret that I read last month. I am really excited for this one. It left the first book on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Under 200 pages, nice. For under 200 pages, I'll be going with There's a Dog in My Brain, Dog Show Disaster by Caroline Green. This is the second in the series. The first book I read 2 or 3 months ago now, but it is one of my most favourite underrated middle grades. Well, I guess you can call it a middle grade. It's more of the younger side of things, and it's all about a young boy who wishes he could save his dog from being in so much trouble. And they switch places. His mind goes into his dog's body and the dog goes into his body. As you can imagine, it's a bit of a Freaky Friday situation, and he has to work out a way to get his own body back, and it's brilliant. I cannot wait to read the second in this series. Luckily, these are free spaces. Under 200 pages again. Not bad, not bad. Could be worse. For under 200 pages, I will be going with Lola Flanagan by Abigail Drake. This is about a hairstylist that was struck by lightning 7 times and can no longer touch anyone without basically frightening them to death. And it's all about if she's ever able to find love and her journey for that. No, not a 1. And that is add 10 books to my TBR. What? Okay, this was the square I was trying to avoid. Thanks, game. So, for book 1 out of 10, I will be adding Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I know absolutely nothing about this book. I know it involves romance, and that's about it. And I'd be going in blind. For book 2, I will be adding The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I was supposed to read this last month, but I DNF'd it. I don't know if it was just me gelling with the book, or if I was just in a slump with fantasy in general, but I will be retrying it for this month. Next up, before I run out of room, I will be adding An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. This is the second book in the series. Then I'll be adding The Light of All That Falls by James Islington. That will be the third book in the series. Next up is Claimed by the Bear. This is the second book in the Branford and Beauty Bears series. And this time we are following Caitlin and Creed, 2 of the side characters from the first book. And I'm really looking forward to diving back into this world and seeing how this couple eventually possibly got together and what they took in order to get there. Next up we have A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor by Catherine Moon. All I know about this is that it's the literature buddy read for the month, and that is about a young maid desperate to hold on to her job, and an invitation to hold on to her job comes from the handsome Dr. Underwood, who has a ferocious alter ego. Kind of feeling a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of vibes with this one, but we'll see if I'm right. Next up, I am adding A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. And this was Steph from Steph Loves Patreon Buddy Read that I didn't get to last month. Hopefully I can get round to it this time, and it's about Dracula's first bride, Constanta. Next up is We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. All I know about this, it's supposed to be horror novel. It involves a heavy metal rock band. So it sounds really, really intriguing. The cover really drew me in, and I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Next up, I am going for This Lovely City by Louise Hay, and all I really know about this book is it's historical fiction and a romance. So yeah, it'll be pretty exciting. I love historical fiction, I love romance, so this should be a pretty nice read for me. For the next one, I will be picking The Billionaire's Obsession, Simon by J.S. Scott. The only thing I know about this is obviously it's a billionaire's romance. It's set in Florida and is about a billionaire that helps this young girl who, through no fault of her own, finds herself about to be homeless. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm expecting a lot of romance, a lot of grumpy sunshine, and we'll see how it goes. Under 200 pages for the third time? Yeesh. Another under 200 pages. I can't believe we're still not home yet. How many more books is it going to make me add to my TBR? This time we are going to go with Home by H.L. Packer. This is another indie and self-pubbed author. She runs the Romance Readers Book Box series. They deliver every quarter, and I'll leave the link in the description bar down below so you can go see. They have different age ranges, different tropes, like dark romance, and they have forbidden, male, reverse harems, all different ones. Every quarter the subject changes, and there's also a Marmite add-on box. Home by H.L. Packer is a Friends to Lovers Christmas romance. I know I'm not reading it in the month of Christmas, but who cares, right? Ooh, animal on the cover. Then for animal on the cover, I'm going to squeeze on, just in case I can't get to it, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I was supposed to be doing a 24-hour read with us with Pris from Pris Peruses, but she has work obligations now, whereas she didn't before. So unfortunately we won't be doing that with Pris, but I may do it still in 24 hours, but we'll see how the rest of the month goes. This is about an epic war fight with dragons and the women who have to lead the fight in order to save the world. And I'm really looking forward to this one. Yes, it's epic, high fantasy. Yes, it's a chonka, but it sounds really empowering and it has dragons in it. One of my most favourite animals of all time, and I can't wait to get round to it. Then we landed on takeout. Always a good square when I have this amount of books. Let's just hope the next one will be our final roll, but judging how my luck's going, we'll see. Just, yeah. Oh, no, 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 no. That is the worst square we could have landed on. I cannot believe that the game did this to me. On the shortest month of the year. Who'd have thought? Wish me luck. Next up is Hate by T. James. This is a reverse harem, and it'll be the first book of the Madison Kate series, as encompassing the Shadowgrove universe. I have read this before. It turned out to be one of my favourite books of all time. I adore this series. I've only read it twice now, so I will be doing a refresher before I read the next series following this. It's about a young woman called Madison Kate. She goes to an illegal MMA fight and a load of gunmen come in and a young girl is murdered. Turns out they were really after her, and this is about her being on the run and being helped by these 4 men. It's a reverse harem, and there's some really good twists and turns. There's steaminess. There's some really good scenes in there. And I cannot wait to delve into this world again. Next up, I am reading Starfell by Dominique Valente. This is about a young girl with the ability to find lost things, and one day she is approached by someone asking her to find a lost day. So it sounds a bit madcap, sounds really fantastical, and is much beloved across BookTube, and is one of my friend Emma's beloved favourites, and is the reason why it's on my 12 titles by 12 friends. I will leave a graphic of it here so you can see what I'll be reading coming up in the year. Next up, I am going for episode 1 in the Cassandra Jones series by Tamara Hart Heiner, called Growing Up. This is about a 12-year-old learning to find her own way in the world. When she fails to become a soccer star, her best friend becomes a popular fashionista overnight and basically dumps her, and it's about her finding her place growing up. I really like these coming of age stories, and I'm expecting to really love this one. Next up, I will be adding Fallen by Lauren Kate. All I know about this is a dark romance with potentially, by the tagline, a fallen angel. and I just think that's a really nice twist on things. I know it's become a really popular series, for better or for worse. Some people really love it, some I really hate, so we'll see what side I fall on. Next up, I will be reading Shadow and Bone, the first book in the Grishaverse. There is a Netflix adaptation of this that you can go and check out. And all I know about this is that it's orphans that go to fight in this war. There's magic, there's monsters, there's an epic war, and that's about it. It really intrigues me. These books have been hyped up all over YouTube, and I've been a little scared to start them yet, but hopefully this month I can get through it. Okay, this time I better throw on some polar fantasy books before I no longer can. Next up, I will be doing Echo North by Joanna Ruth Meyer. This is a polar fantasy about a young girl called Echo, whose father mysteriously vanishes, and she finds him half frozen to death in a forest, mysteriously guarded by a talking wolf. The talking wolf tells her if she goes and lives with him for a year, then he will save her father's life. This sounds absolutely incredible. Next up is Raven Winter by Susanna Bailey. I was immediately drawn to this cover. I mean, I love ravens. I mean, who doesn't, right? This is about a young girl whose kind dad ends up going to prison, and mum moves her new boyfriend in, and she finds an injured raven and nurses it back to health. This sounds really, really intriguing, and I'm really looking forward to picking this one up this month. Now we're going to add on Danger at Dead Man's Pass by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman. This is the fourth book in the Adventures on Train series, a book series that I've been really loving, and it's about time that I caught up. This is about a young boy and his Uncle Nat. His Uncle Nat is a reporter and journalist and writes about trains for local newspapers, and Hal likes to solve mysteries riding along with his uncle. This time they are on a funeral train and they come across a spooky house, so we'll see what's next for our duo. Next up, I will be reading The Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell. There was one tagline that I read, didn't want to know anymore. It sounded like a respectable and worthy enough death for an explorer, tumbling from an ice bridge to be impaled upon a mammoth tusk. But Stella really, really didn't want that to happen just the same. I mean, I don't need to know anything else about the book. Apparently it's got all manner of creatures in it and 3 explorers, and I'm really, really looking forward to this one. I think it actually may be one of my favourites of this month. And last but not least, there is the International Yeti Collective by Paul Mason. This one is just a baby coming in at 204 pages and should be a nice one to round off my list. It's all about a girl named Ella and her uncle going in search of Yetis, and it comes from the perspective of Ella as well as the Yeti, and it sounds absolutely adorable. Phew, and we're done. So that's my entire TBR for this month. Pray for me. I'm going to need it. There is a total of 28 books on this list. We only have 28 days in the month. That's a book a day. I know some of them are pretty short, but some of them are really chunky, like Priory. So it could go either way. We'll see how we go, and wish me luck. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.